European lifestyle is hard. I meet people who they care about Jesus and his benefits. They want to live forever. They want to go to heaven. They want to be spiritual like Jesus. They want to be righteous. They want to have to pray like Jesus, to be righteous like Jesus. They want all of that stuff, but they don't go to church. Maybe they went at some point. They probably did, but now they don't. Hey everybody, welcome to the Sanctus Forum. I am Michael Stewart Robb, better known as Mike. This year, as you know, I've thought it would be appropriate to do more videos on just basic lifestyle. Our conversation, as the King James Bible puts it, which is just coming out of the Latin word conversatio, means lifestyle, way of life, manner of life. And as you can think about humanity, you can think about all these different ways of life that people have. And the point is that not all of them are conducive, are helpful for growing in Christ, for spiritual growth, for spiritual formation. So if you don't get some basic things right about how you're going to live your life, then your goals to be a different kind of person, to pray and to act like Jesus would, are just going to be frustrated. This is just going to be a video for people who don't go to church weekly, or who do go to church weekly or occasionally, but do ask themselves, what's the point of this? I don't really see the point of this. And so my first point is that we're talking here about a lifestyle issue. It's just a basic decision about how you're going to live your life. It's similar to whether you're going to celebrate major holidays or not. I don't know what country you're in, what your major holidays are. For us, Christmas, Easter, things like that, national holidays, or any other sorts of things. Are you going to celebrate those with friends, family, whoever you celebrate with, or not? It's just sort of a basic thing to life. And that's the same question with church, weekly church. Are you going to celebrate the Lord's Day? Are you going to celebrate the Sabbath with other people? Or just celebrate it? Let's just go back to, is this a decision that you've made to do in your life? Will you participate? Now, one of the reasons why this is important is because Jesus' spirituality is a relational thing. That's my second observation here. Not all spiritualities, philosophies, religions, whatever you want to call them, are relational, and not relational. They're not relational necessarily in the same way that Jesus's is. Jesus's is because basically we are relational beings, and God is a relational being, and many of the benefits that are there in Jesus' spirituality can't be had unless you get them from other people. And even benefits from God can't be had unless you receive them through other people. It's relational spirituality, and there are others out there that are not relational. And I think there may be an attraction to that because relationships are messy. They're messy, and they don't always seem life-giving. But that's just the way that it is. We're messy people. So that's just have to go through that. The next thing that I wanted to point out is faith, spirituality tends to dwindle without weekly church attendance. I think that's kind of an empirical fact. I certainly have met a number of people who thought, I'm going to just not attend, but I still really care about Jesus. I'm going to read my Bible or read these books or talk with people and whatever they think that would mean to sort of stay in touch, and maybe their worldview, their belief system doesn't change all that much, but they've taken out this element. They're not going to celebrate the Lord's Day in church. And, you know, I think almost without exception, for those people, their faith, their spirituality in Jesus just starts to dwindle over time. I don't know of an example where that hasn't happened. And that gets back to this idea of Jesus' spirituality is relational, and there are certain benefits of it that you just can't have without being in touch with other people. It's like a certain nutrient that you take away from a biological organism. And there are still other ones there, but eventually there's just going to be a withering and perhaps eventually a death for that biological organism. So I think practically, this is my fourth idea here, is you have to make it a commitment. And making it a commitment is the first step to making it a habit. But a commitment would be something like, well, for 6 months, I'm going to attend church weekly. And, doesn't have to be Sunday, maybe Friday, maybe Sunday evening. We have to think outside of the box a little bit. But finding a way to sort of come together, and you make this a commitment, which means you don't do it based on feeling. You don't say, well, I don't feel like it today, so I'm not going to go. Commitments mean you just do it anyway. Because, there are potentially 52 Sundays in a year. No, there are always 52 Sundays in a year. And I guarantee you will not feel like it on some of those, even if you are in the habit. And yet you go anyway, and once you kind of get to the habit stage, then that kind of carries you forward. But at the beginning, you may have to sort of say, I'm just going to do this whether I want to or not, because some guy on the internet said that it would be good for me and that it would be helpful for my serious intent to follow Jesus. If that's all you got, go with that. Now, I do think we need to think differently about this. And my fifth point is, I know that a lot of churches out there aren't worth going to. So you may need to mix it up a little bit. And going may not mean for you going to the same place all the time. And even if you are in the habit, it may be helpful to, one Sunday a month, go to a different service that perhaps does something a little bit differently. I remember an African American family that I met that they were rooted in this church that was predominantly white, but they wanted to have their kids see African Americans in leadership, which their main church didn't have. And so one Sunday a month, they went to this other church to just sort of be a part of that environment. And that was a really creative solution for them. So I don't think you need to, there is a point to going to the same church continually. And really that's what we should be working towards. But it's possible maybe that's what you need if you're struggling with the point of church, is to go to a few different ones for a while and to see what it's like there. I know some people jump around in churches, and generally that's not great for us, but the ability to see what other people are doing and be a part of that can really help us. And finally, my sixth idea here is be creative about this. I don't know what your image of this is what church should be, but we have to sort of separate the ideal of this is what really would mean for me to be in church, and this is what this church should be, from the reality of what are the church services and the church communities like in the area where I am. And you may need to find that gathering with other people for worship, for a service, has to be more small. It may have to be something that you create on your own. It may mean just thinking outside of the box, because here in Europe we've got just some places just don't have many decent churches to attend, and so we do need to be creative about what that means. So don't restrict yourself. Certainly don't restrict yourself to some ideal of what church should be, but don't restrict yourself to just the existing offerings. Find different ways to accomplish a goal like this. But I think this is a rather important lifestyle thing. And if you wonder why European life might be hard or difficult, one of the reasons may be that Europeans just generally don't go to church weekly, and that they're missing that nutrient from their life, the celebration of the Lord's Day, of Sabbath. And because they're missing that, everything else just doesn't work as it should. Well, I hope that you'll think about that. I'm thankful that you've made it all the way to the end of this video. And if you have, and then liking videos like this always helps us, as well as subscribing to these videos. Checking out our almost monthly newsletter over at Sanctus Institute will help keep you in touch with us in other ways, because we don't just make YouTube videos, believe it or not. See you then. That is next time.